Speech by King Leopold II to the missionaries. Reverend Fathers, pastors, and dear compatriots, welcome to our great homeland of the Belgian Congo. The task entrusted to you to fulfill is very delicate and requires a lot of tact. Priests and pastors, you certainly come to evangelize, but this evangelization is inspired by our great principle. Above all, the interests of the metropolis. The essential goal of your mission is not to teach Black people to know God. They already know it from their ancestors. They pray and submit to Nzambi Mpungu as far as I know, and also to Nzambi Mawesi, etc. They know that killing, stealing, sleeping with someone else's wife, slandering, insulting, etc. is bad. Let's have the courage to admit it. You are not coming to teach them what they already know. Your role is essentially to facilitate administrators and manufacturers. That is, you will interpret the gospel in the way that best serves our interests in this part of the world. To do this, you will take care, among other things, to disinterest our Black savages in the riches that abound in their basement in order to prevent them from becoming interested in it or from making deadly competition with us, dreaming of one day dislodging us from this part. Before we get rich, your knowledge of the gospel will allow you to find texts that recommend and encourage people to love poverty. For example, "Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." It is more difficult for a rich man to enter heaven than for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle, etc. You will therefore do everything so that the Negroes are afraid of getting rich to better deserve heaven, supporting them little by little so that they never revolt one day. Industrialists and administrators will be obliged to comply with what I will recommend to you, white priests and pastors, from time to time to make you fear not to be afraid of resorting to violence, insulting, beating. The Negroes must not retaliate or feed on revenge. For this, you will teach them by all means, and you will insist that they follow the example of all the saints who turned their cheeks, who forgave offenses, who received spit and insults without flinching. We will have to discourage them and detach them from anything that could give them the courage to confront us. I am thinking here especially of their many war fetishes which they claim not to abandon. Your action must focus primarily on young people so that they do not hesitate to greet us. When the command of the Father, God, is in contradiction with that of the missionaries who are the spiritual fathers of their souls, you will particularly insist on submission and even blind obedience. This virtue is best practiced when there is an absence of criticism. Teach students to believe and not to reason. These, dear priests, pastors, and compatriots, are some of the principles that you will apply without fail. You will find many others in the books and texts which will be given to you at the end of this session. You will therefore see what I will recommend to you, white priests and pastors. Evangelize Black people to the marrow of their bones so that they will never revolt against the injustices you will subject them to. Have them recite every day, "Blessed are those who mourn, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Convert the Blacks using shikats. Keep their women at the mission for 9 months so that they work for you. Court them if necessary, and then demand that these converts offer as a token of appreciation good meat, chickens, roosters, and eggs every time you visit their villages. Do everything to prevent Black people from becoming rich. To do this, sing to them every day that it is impossible for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Make them pay a tax every week at Sunday Mass. Divert this money supposedly intended for the poor. To have important stores where you are, parish, procure, and transform your missions into large, thriving commercial centers, and help the poor a little to encourage other white people to invest regularly. Ask Black people to starve, and the rest of you will eat 5 times a day. In addition, may your bellies always be full of good things, and may your mouths exude the smell of onions everywhere. Establish for them a system of confession which will make you good detectors to denounce any Black, to raise awareness for the demand for national independence. Teach a doctrine that you will not practice. And perhaps if they ask you why you are behaving contrary to what you preach, tell them, you blacks follow what we say, not what you say, that we do. And if they respond by saying that faith without works is dead faith, get angry by applying the whip and answer them. Blessed are those who believe without protesting. Tell them that the statuettes you keep at home are the work of Satan. Confiscate them and go fill your museums in the Vatican as well as those in Tervueren. Make black people forget their ancestors so that they worship yours who will never listen to them. For example, the saints, the Virgin Mary, Saint Teresa, Saint Martin, etc. Make them pray by putting them on their knees as punishment and force them to say the rosary 10 or more times. Never present a chair to a black person who comes to see you. Never invite him. At most, give him a cigarette. Never invite him to eat with you, even if he slaughters a hen or a rooster for you every time you arrive at his house. In short, when you have accomplished all this, our country Belgium will be very rich, and it is only later, when the blacks have understood, that we will try to help them for the love of God. Because you don't wake up a sleeping cat. I thank you very much.
The King of the Belgians, Leopold II.